So I actually forgot what I was supposed to talk about. In all seriousness, Bismillah. So what I was planning to do was just to mention something we've done before, as a reminder to myself and others, just some of the basic elements that are essential to keeping our communities vibrant and functional. And based on the example of the first community, the prophetic community, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in the context, being reminded of what the topic is, try to work in some of the things related to surviving as a traditional community in a postmodern world. So the foundation, inshallah, of this talk is the verse in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين تبوأوا الدار والإيمان يحبون من هاجر إليهم والذين تبوأوا الدار والإيمان من قبلهم يحبون من هاجر إليهم ولا يجدون في صدورهم حاجة مما أوتوا ويؤثرون على أنفسهم ولو كان بهم خصاصة ومن يوق شح نفسه فأولئك هم المفلحون. So Allah Ta'ala mentions those who inhabited the abode and came to faith before them, so referring to the Ansar, not that they came to faith before the Muhajirin, but that they came to faith before the Muhajirin migrated to them. So those who inhabited the abode and attained the faith before them, before the coming of the Muhajirin, so referring to the Ansar. يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ. So here there are three critical things that are mentioned in terms of forming and maintaining and cementing a community. So the first is there has to be a location for that community. So for example, the establishment of this masjid helped to consolidate the communal life for the Muslims in this area. This became their dar, if you will. So وَالَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ. So there has to be a location for that community. وَالْإِيمَانِ. And the cement that holds that house together is faith. So we are a community of faith. And this, to relate it back to the original topic of surviving as a community of faith in the postmodern world, is to always remind ourselves we're a community of faith, and anything else is a community of atheism and kufr. And I'm saying that bluntly because, I'm watching our young people being swept away by a tide of kufr. Every day, some of your children coming home, they're lesbians, homosexuals, they're atheists. Like, where's that coming from? It's coming from a faithless ideology that has its prophets, it has its ideas, it has its language, and the prophets aren't our prophets. The language isn't our language, and the ideas are not our ideas. And it's that simple. Like, دينك دينك إنه دمك ولحمك. Your deen, it's your lifeblood. Take from those who are upright. Take it from those who are upright. That language, ideas are mainly being taken from homosexual atheists. Like Foucault. Foucault was a homosexual atheist. And a lot of our young people are taking their deen from people like that. They're all atheists across the board. Many of them are homosexuals. And not to hate on homosexuals, but to identify the source of the deviation, the corruption, and the undermining of our children. So they have faith. وَالَّذِينَ تَبَاوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ. They have faith. We are a community of faith. And if we remain a community of faith, we'll survive this time. Because these ideas come and go, but faith remains. Faith remains. Who takes Marx seriously in terms of the original Marx, Engels, their ideas? No one takes them serious. Those ideas came and went. And then Lenin, he tried to correct it. So you hear the term Marxist-Leninist. Leninist ideas came and went. Who really takes Freud seriously these days? Freud and his ideas came and went. And you can, the Frankfurt School, Horkheimer and Adorno, and these people, the ideas came and went. Actually, they're still with us. For those who know, Bismillah. But eventually they'll go. And Islam has endured even before that. And it's still here. And it's up to us to keep it here. And one of the critical things we have to do is remind ourselves we're a community of faith. And we're not a community that builds our worldview on language that's incompatible with the Quranic language and ideas that are incompatible with the ideas that are informed by the language of the Quran, which gives us a Quranic outlook and worldview. And so that's the foundation of our community. وَالَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ يُحِبُّ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. So we have predecessors. We have those who preceded us in this land. We can benefit tremendously from them. We can, if you look at the enslaved Africans who preceded us in faith here and inhabited this dar, وَالَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Those African slaves and those who came after them, and people like who were in the nation of Islam, even though it wasn't proper Islam, but they had faith that was extremely Islamic. And they weren't going to give it up for anyone. They had to beat it out of Kunta Kinte. A lot of you saw Roots. They had to beat it out of him. And they whip it out of him. And he continued to resist. And he ran away till they chopped his feet in half. They weren't going to give it up. Some of us, we get one deviant idea and we're ready to leave Islam. Like, it's so cheap. Like, what's wrong with you? Well, I have philosophy class and they were talking about deconstructing, and so I started thinking and I deconstructed my faith. You went to one lesson and one class and you had a faith crisis? That's how cheap your faith was? So I talked to some of the folks who talk like that. So I read Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion. Now I'm deluded concerning God. I never, ever, not one time talked to one of these people and said, did you read The Devil's Delusion? Atheism and its Scientific Pretensions, a critique of Dawkins? No. Did you read God's Undertaker by John Lennox, who rips Dawkins to shreds? God's Undertaker, has science buried religion. No, I didn't read that. Did you read the Kalam Cosmological Argument? William Crane Legg? No, I didn't read that. Did you read anything to refute these ideas that took your faith from you? That's how cheap your faith was? It was so cheap, you didn't even try to hold on to it. You heard one thing that undermined it, and you didn't do anything to strengthen it. Bitsim al-Zalimeen badala. Bitsim al-Zalimeen badala. What a cheap exchange you've engaged in. La ilaha illallah. We're a community of faith. We're a community of struggle. If you're checking your emails, please leave the room. And I don't mind it. But we're a community of etiquette and adab and manners. So if something is more pressing, I could understand that. I'm not saying something so important that you have to stay in the room and listen. But you should do whatever you're doing other than this in peace, and quiet, tranquility, without being called out. So please, if you have an urgent message you're expecting from someone, please leave. And then when you've taken care of your business, come back. May Allah give us tawfiq and taysir and qabul. That's part of tradition. Traditional societies have codes of manners. And that's what our mothers and fathers taught us when they had sense. Now they'll tell you, well, why are you calling me mister? Don't call me mister, call me Bob. This guy's 30 years older than you. Why are you calling me mister? Why are you calling me uncle? I'm not your uncle. Just call me Bob. No code of ethics, no code of sense of hierarchy. Oh, we don't believe in hierarchy. Serious problem. Well, traditional societies have hierarchies. Traditional societies have meritocracies. You earn what you get. Shifu Salahuddin, martial artists, they have a hierarchy. You don't get a black belt just to make you happy, because everyone's equal. We have to equalize. When we were growing up, you were involved in sports. There was in track and field. We have young kids in our family. They run track and field. There was a blue ribbon for the winner. There was a red ribbon for second place, and there was a white ribbon or yellow ribbon for third place, and after that there were no more ribbons. If you didn't get first, second, or third, you didn't get a ribbon. And that was everyone didn't win. No one was deceived about life. And so you don't work hard, you get a ribbon, because everyone gets a ribbon. We're all equal. The person who was running 2 and 3 miles a day before they went to school, then after practice stayed and ran up the hill 15 times and put in the work, and that's why he or she got the blue ribbon. They're equal with the person who just sat and watched TV and channel surfed and came in 30 meters behind them, and then they got a ribbon too. That's telling our young people you don't have to work hard. You don't have to respect those who put in work. You don't have to respect them. We're all equal. There's no hierarchy. And they don't deserve that blue ribbon any more than you do. Then we go out in the world and everyone's having nervous breakdowns and suffering from depression and trying to drown out the pain of losing with opiates and ODing left and right, because they've been told lies. They've been lied to. May Allah give us tawfiq. And so we're a community of faith, and as a community of faith, we're a traditional community, and as a traditional community, we have hierarchy, we have merit, we have incentives, and without that, our religion doesn't work. Who's on top? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on top. So there's this modern atheistic formulation, you just get rid of God. And then you don't have to worry about that problem. We have Muslims. Someone came to me and said a Muslim has a problem with the term ibad. قال عمر وعباد الرحمن وعباد الرحمن. They had a problem with the servants of Allah. Why should Allah have servants? Why should we be the servants of Allah? We shouldn't subordinate ourselves to anyone. Not with, this is a Muslim talking. I have a problem with the term servants of Allah. So you're going to take it out of the Quran? Because only in equalizing everything will liberate ourselves. That's a lie. Only by becoming a slave to Allah will you liberate yourself from human beings and anything else in this world that might enslave you. And one of the great ironies of human society, even if you're a physical slave, you can liberate yourself. And that's why Sylvian Diouf, some people don't even like this. I'm going to get a lot of tweets probably. I don't care. I'm an old person now. I'm too old to care. I'm sorry. You could tweet, you could Facebook, you could do whatever you want. I'm going to tell the truth as I received it, to the best of my ability, and let the tweets fall where they may. The last paragraph in Sylvian Diouf ends her book, which is entitled Servants of Allah, in the following fashion. Those Muslim slaves may have been the property of Christian owners, but in their minds they were free, they were servants of Allah. In other words, this religion has the power to liberate you even if you're a slave. Because our true humanity isn't in our physical condition. It's in our mental and spiritual condition. And if our mental and spiritual condition orients us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and places nothing higher than our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our relationship with people means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Because we're elevated above it. A person who is in love doesn't feel pain when they're thinking of their beloved and they're focused on their beloved. They're like, I just slapped you. You didn't feel it? I was thinking about my beloved. I'm sorry. My apologies. My bad. May Allah give us tawfiq. Faith, place, تباوء الدار والإيمان يحبون love. We have to have love. This modern condition, it sets up schemes that make it impossible to love. It makes it impossible to love. Because this scheme, if you are a white, heterosexual, rich, male, you're not supposed to love anyone else. You can't love black people. You can't love black people by definition. Because you're an oppressor of black people. You can't oppress someone you love. And as a white person, you're an oppressor of black people. As a heterosexual person, you're an oppressor of LGBTQI people. As a rich person, you're an oppressor of poor people. And the opposite is true. If you're poor, you hate the rich people. If you're black or brown, you hate the white people. If you're LGBTQI, you hate the straight people. If you're poor, you hate the rich people. But that community had black folks like Bilal and Ayman, Baraka al-Habashiyah. It had Arabs like the Prophet himself, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Abu Bakr, Uthman, Ali. It had Persians like Salman al-Farisi, Asians. It had Europeans like Suhaib al-Rumi. And they loved each other. Because their love wasn't built on some scheme imaginary that was concocted in the mind of some atheist kafir. It was based on their shared commitment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their shared faith. And that gave them the ability to love. وَالَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ. Those muhajirin were poor. And some of the Ansar who received them were rich. And they loved them. And those poor muhajirin, who some of them were rich in Mecca, like Abdul Rahman bin Auf, radiallahu anhu. He loved those people who received him. They loved each other. And they loved each other because they had faith. They had belief. They had a shared source of unity. Their Lord. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Hold to the rope of Allah, the Quran, all together. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And don't be divided amongst yourselves. They had a common rope that they could hold on to. The rope of Allah, the Quran. And because they shared so much in common, they loved each other. Now our modern condition is telling us to hate each other. You have to hate each other. You have to hate each other. And look at the polarization in our society as a result. People doing things that you couldn't imagine. Assuming the right to destroy people's property because they hate them. Assuming the right to slander and vilify people because they hate them. There's no husn al-dhan in that program. There's no husn al-dhan. So to such an extent that the scheme that's operative in many of the lives of the educated is that a person has a right to interpret someone's speech solely on their interpretation, with no consideration for what the person who spoke intended. Your words were harmful. I didn't mean to harm you. I always greet people like that. No, that was a microaggression that you did intentionally. I said, I don't even know what a microaggression is. I was just trying to, what's up? I said, what's up to everybody? No, that was demeaning and belittling. And so, husn al-dhan. I apologize. I thought, I didn't know you greet everyone like that. No, there's no husn al-dhan. It's only my nafs, my ego, that becomes the filter of everything that might occur in my life. And in that scheme, there's no husn al-dhan. Read about it. This is part of the whole program. May Allah give us tawfiq and make things easy for us. يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ. Then there's hijrah. That a lot of you moved to this neighborhood because of this community. You uprooted yourself and you came here. You uprooted yourself when you put your children in Zaytuna College. I know families that did that. Why? Because hijrah is an integral part of community formation. And again, what is the motivating factor is it's love. I love those people. I want to be with them. Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. A person is with those they love. So I'm going to make an effort to be with those I love. So we have place, tabawwa'u ad-dara. We have faith, wal-iman. We have precedence, min qablihim. We have love, yuhibbuna. We have hijrah, man hajara ilayhim. Then comes perhaps the most important part. You can have those things and you could build a community and it can have its foundations. But if there's jealousy, there's shaitan, the first envier. And why are they prostrating themselves to Adam? And it's sajda tashrif wala sajda al-ibad. Not a prostration of worship or prostration of honor. Why are they prostrating to Adam? They should prostrate to me. And I'm better than him. So he envied Adam alayhi salam. And so you can have all of that envy, will tear it apart in a minute. يَدِبُّ إِلَيْكُمْ دَاءُ الْأُمَمِ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ الْبَغْضَاءُ وَالْحَسَدُ. The disease of the nations, of the communities, al-umam. So jealousy will tear a community apart. يَدُبُّ إِلَيْكُمْ دَاءُ الْأُمَمِ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ الْبَغْضَاءُ وَالْحَسَدُ. The disease of the nations who preceded you will creep up on you. Hatred and jealousy. And so what does it go on to, how does Allah Ta'ala go on to describe that community that was built along the prophetic model? وَلَا يَجِدُونَ فِي صُدُورِهِمْ حَاجَةً مِمَّا أُوتُوا. And they find no jealousy, no agitation, no discomfort in their hearts based on what the others were given. Based on what the Muhajirin were given from the wealth of Bani Nadir. No jealousy, no agitation, no discomfort. Why? وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. And they gave preference to others. So if it stopped there, we could say, MashaAllah. But it goes on. Even though they themselves had need for that wealth. وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. Even though they themselves had serious need for what they gave preference to others in. So now if someone gets something we don't get it, we want to take it away. Right? We want to, why does the 1% have everything? We want to take it away and distribute it amongst the 99%. That's not Islamic. We have zakat. If the 1% has all of that, they're paying a lot of zakat. They're doing a lot of sadaqah. If they have faith, they're distributing that wealth. And the poor people, if they have faith, that's what they're doing. What are the poor people doing if they have faith? The poor people say, Alhamdulillah, I'm glad I don't have to worry about all that money. I can worship my Lord. I don't have to spend time managing my accountants who are keeping track of my money. I don't have to worry about someone kidnapping my children and holding them ransom because they know I ain't got nothing. They're like, we want $1 million. I'll give you my bicycle. I don't have to sweat that. I can read my Quran. I can go to Qari Amar's class and learn the Quran. Because I got time on my hands. Because I don't have to worry about managing all that money. So I don't envy them. I feel sorry for them. And no, it's envy, it's bitterness, it's hatred. May Allah give us tawfiq. Why? Because it's built on the foundations that encourages those things. Our ummah is built on a different foundation because it doesn't prioritize the life of this world. وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. It prioritizes the hereafter. The hereafter is better and longer lasting. The hereafter is better and longer lasting. So I'll get through this world, but when there's no hereafter, and there is no Allah, and there is no divine mercy, and there is no ridwan of Allah to pursue, there's no pleasure of Allah to pursue through patience and through charity, then there's no foundation for contentment. I'll be content and I'll be patient and I'll get a bigger reward in the akhirah because of that. People who are rich in this world, many of them will be totally impoverished in the akhirah. And people who are poor in this world, they'll be the richest people in the akhirah, just as they're the richest people in this world. With qana'a laysa an kathrat al-arab aw al-ghina. Wealth is not based on piling up the stuff of this world. Wealth is based on contentment with what you have. If I have my bicycle, because the kidnappers realized I didn't have no money and they had no use for my bicycle, I got my bicycle, I can ride it to the BART and take the BART to work and don't need a car, I'm rich. Because I'm content with my little bit. I'm content with my little bit. But if I have a Tesla and then someone drives by in a Bugatti, someone told me that's the most expensive car. Even more expensive than a Bentley. And what was that? Oh man, that's a Bugatti. You got to get a Bugatti. If you don't get a Bugatti, you ain't got nothing. Then I'm like, man, calling up, listen, I need $500,000 taken over my account. He said, what for? Go buy a Bugatti, fool. I got to have a Bugatti. Then you get a Bugatti, then this car goes flying by. What was that? That was a new flying car. They got flying cars now? I got to get it. That person's poor. Because they need more than what they have. Even though they have a lot. They got a Bugatti. But they don't got enough. Because when they saw that flying car, like, I got to get one of those. I need one of those. Real wealth is contentment. It's not on how much stuff you have. Some of you saw this stuff, the photo collage of people and their stuff. They had the American couple with a mountain of stuff, standing outside the garage with a mountain of stuff. They didn't look all that happy. Then they had the couple in Niger. Like their stuff was like this big, like you could put in a stick in a pillowcase and carry it away somewhere. And they had big smiles on their face. They had a big Kool-Aid smile. Some of you old enough to know what a Kool-Aid smile is. They had a big Kool-Aid smile from ear to ear with this little bit of stuff. Stuff doesn't make you happy. Wealth doesn't make you happy. Contentment makes you happy. Your relationship with Allah makes you happy. Some of you saw the optimism report. You could Google this stuff. Some of the most optimistic people on earth were the poorest. They have more hope and optimism than people who have mountains of stuff. Right here, America, wealthy country. Why are so many people depressed? Why do we have record opioid overdoses? Why have record alcohol-related deaths? Not car accidents, physical cirrhosis of the liver, etc. Why do we have so many people using heroin? Why are so many people dying in Mexico to determine who's going to sell marijuana and cocaine to people in the United States? 100,000 people over the last 15 years have perished in these drug wars because we have such a tremendous demand for dope. because we're so miserable. That's a hujjah. That's a proof that wealth does not give you happiness. As the Beatles said, money can't buy you love. Money can't buy you love. May Allah give us tawfiq. And so jealousy can destroy all of that. But those people had no jealousy because they had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, good for your stuff. Abdurrahman bin Auf and Sa'd, I think Sa'd bin Rabi'ah, there were two Sa'ds who were the nobles of the Ansar, Sa'd bin Mu'adh or Sa'd bin Rabi'ah. But when he was made brothers, the Prophet made brotherly relations